Disney World. And two is I'm still waiting for him to take me and my brother to go get pretzels and water ice. Right? I don't know why these things stuck in my, because me and my dad have a great relationship now. That's my dog. But
Mhm.
at the time, I just couldn't understand. And even as an adult, I kind of carry it with me so I don't do that to my own.
Yeah.
Um, but it also shows you that, you're going to have faults on both sides, but just be better more than you're bad. That's kind of how I see it. Because you're going to have
Mhm.
your bad moments, man. We allowed to. I think people look at us and you're supposed to be these superhumans all the time. You're always supposed to be at max level. Like, nah, we have our days too. Your days where I feel like crap. I don't want to do anything. But
Right.
whether I get up or not, I shouldn't be penalized for something and treated a certain way, which I don't. But I think the world will see you sometimes and be like, oh, he being lazy. You don't want to. And I'm like, nah, I just got a day off. PTO. Like, it is what it is.
I like that
So,
PTO reference. I like
yeah,
that.
it's
That's very relatable.
how
Yeah.
we gonna do it, man.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, and that's real, right? Like there are days that your wife probably comes home also and she's just like, I don't have it today.
bro,
It's been one of those days. I just need, can you please hold us down? And you got it,
yeah.
right? Because like, because she always is right in there with you.
Hmm.
So, if she's telling you she needs a day, she needs a day.
And that's
You know
when
what
it
I'm
matters
saying?
the most to step up.
Exactly. Exactly. And so that's why I know like it can be vice versa. So that's a very real thing because you're right. We're not perfect. Pulley, what about you? What you thinking?
Yeah, certainly fatherhood for me has been like a master class in terms of my learning for patience, like Kev English said, understanding, you know what I mean, selflessness and like unconditional love. And I think that like me experiencing those things through my children has bettered my marriage because those skills I can put right into my marriage, into my wife. So I think like to me, I think one helps the other. Like they kind of go lock and step if you ask me, because everyone's household is different, but in my house, there's so much to do
Mm-hmm.
that like we have to be a team to get. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like what you got talking on. Like there's no set roles in my house. It's like whatever needs to happen, we happen. Okay, I'm doing bath tonight. I'm cooking tonight. Like whatever needs to occur, and I think
Right.
all that stuff galvanizes the marriage. So like they both to me work together. In my household. So I think that like, but I do think the depth of love that you feel for your children has allowed me to learn depths that I did not even know exist. And I don't think I would be there without that. I think that
Mm-hmm.
those things I can translate right into my marriage. And I think that, a high tide raises all the boats. And I feel that has occurred for me. So I'm certainly thankful for it. And I think that, you know, fatherhood in and of itself has been the greatest gift. You know what I mean? And being able to share that with my wife has been incredible. And yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
No, that's
Can I
dope.
that,
can I add one more thing to that?
Please.
Um, I think with me, um, it's like not having an example or not experiencing it in my own household as far as like, okay, what does marriage look like? Or, in the sense of, like fatherhood as far as like, active father, like being present, like most of
Mm-hmm.
it is like, like learning on the fly, especially when it comes to like the balance of, again, being a husband, being a father, of not being able to, watch and have an example as far as like what it is, that it looks like.
Shout out to that. And that's a fact in terms of learning on the fly, especially if you didn't necessarily have examples. I always tell people like my ex had to teach me how to play with kids. It's just not something that I, it sounds so silly, but it's not something I did. My parents didn't play with me. There was just, that just never happened. So for me, playing with my kids, me just sitting there, being in the same room with them, I'm like, I'm killing this shit right now. Like, my kids is here. I'm here too, right? Because my dad wasn't around like that. So the fact that I'm in the house with y'all, sitting right here, and y'all are playing with them toys right in front of me. Dad of the year. What you talking about? And I had to learn, like, it helps if you engage with them. Maybe like pick up some of the toys too, play with them a little bit, something basic like that. And I was just like, wow. But then it's like you do stuff like that, and now I see the relationship with my kids building because I'm engaging with them in a different way, and a way I'm not used to, a way I'm unfamiliar with, that I don't necessarily have example for. But then, like you're saying, Kev, you get to learn on the fly as it's happening, and you get to really figure out what you enjoy also. And so that's absolutely something that I've learned to really embrace and love. And I think also, even with my wife now, like her with my daughters is beautiful. Like it blows me away watching how she's able to interact with them. You know what I mean? As a stepmother. And I think it really kind of deepened the love that I have that's continuing to build, right? Because when you see your wife with your children, it's just, I don't know, it's just like almost a magical kind of feeling because I love them so much. I see how much you love them so much. And then I see what pouring into them looks like on both of our parts. And I get to see what the end result of that turns into. And I think that really is just exciting for me. And it also, you know what it is too? I think I gain a lot of respect for her as well in general because of seeing like how that love manifests itself. And so I agree with y'all on that. And so here's the question that I was going to ask. Excuse me. I have two more questions for y'all, really. Um, and my first question is, did any grown man in your life talk to you all about what it's like to take care of a woman after she has your child? And my next question for Pulley and for Miles, because both of you had your kids prior to being married. Um, what made y'all say, I still need to get married, even though you had children already, right? Because I don't know if y'all are familiar with this, but in the Black community, most of us aren't married. Most of us aren't partnered, live together, have children together, but did not walk down the aisle. We have no paperwork set up. So we're just, they live together, shacking up, whatever you want to call it. What I want to hear from y'all, what made y'all say, no, I'm going to take it to that next step and still, decide to get married. So first question, had any man talk to y'all about what it's like to take care of a woman after pregnancy, after she has your baby?
Never, never
Never.
had that conversation with any man about it, and it was something that I had to learn. Like y'all was just talking about learning on the fly. It was
Mm-hmm.
something that I had to learn. And I'll be completely honest. Like when my ex was pregnant, I did a terrible job while she was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
I went to all the appointments and things that I could, and I made sure she had the stuff she needed. But I think I was emotionally bad
Yeah.
because I was doing dumb stuff, just running
Mm-hmm.
and gunning and still doing what I like. Y'all probably gonna laugh. I went to ATL Greek while she was pregnant. Like,
Well, in fairness, he was like, what, 22?
I
23?
mean, yeah. So I was 20, right? So I'm
Oh, he was
still
20.
young, but it was like
No. I
legit.
mean,
Left
it's
her at
still
the
pretty
crib.
terrible.
It
It's
was
pretty
like I'll
terrible.
be back. I'll be
But
back
it's fine.
Monday morning. I guess because I'm going to AGP. Like, so nobody taught me that, and I kind of carried the fact of like thinking like, all right, she be all right. Like she
Yeah.
be cool. I'll be back. And then she was kind of like staying with me, and I was actually at my mom's house at the time, so my mom was there. I'm like, oh, they cool. Um, but when I got married, it was a totally different story because now I had been through it and I understood and I watched
Mm-hmm.
as like my ex went because she had hypermesis when she was pregnant, so she would throw up to the like every morning. It was crazy, man. But I still was just like not doing everything that I needed to. So
Mm-hmm.
getting married, I was way more attentive. I was way more involved. I was to the point, bro, like I was so in it that I was at not only at all the appointments and everything, but also when my son was being born, I was working for Dunbar Armor, the armor truck, the money.
Mm-hmm.
They called me and said she was about to go into labor. I left the truck at the shop at a stop in Philly. I had my coworker bring my car to me, and I was like, I'm going to the hospital. Y'all, this money just gonna have to figure it out because it ain't getting delivered by me today. So I was locked in, and then to the second question, really, I always wanted a family. I always wanted to be married. That was always my goal because I thought I was gonna marry my ex, but it didn't work out. Um, but especially when I had my daughter, I'm like, I want her to see something that I didn't see. My
Yeah.
parents were very young when I was born. My mom was 17, pops was 18. They never got married. My dad's been married. He's on his third marriage, and I think this is the one he good. But I never had that as a child, and my siblings, not my little sisters, because he married their moms, they got to see it, but I didn't have it like that. And I moved in with my dad when I was 16, and he was with my stepmom, but I didn't get to see that growing up, and I didn't have that dynamic. And I wanted my kids to be able to see that, have that, and understand what a good family looks like, what it should be like, if that's what you want. And if that ain't what you want, I'm not gonna knock you. But if this is what you want, I want to give you a good example of that. And the only way for me to do it is to actually do it.
So it
So
was really important to you to
yeah,
show
it
that
was.
example.
Listen, it was like top priority in my life. For real. Like I knew that was what I was gonna do. I didn't know I was gonna be married at 25.
Right.
But that's the way it
You knew it
happened,
was
and
going to happen.
I've been good. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how
So
I
you
got
felt, so you definitely felt responsibility there from the family as
there.
well.
Right.
I love
That was
that.
it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin English, how about you? Did any man talk to you about what it would be like to take care of a woman after pregnancy? I mean,
Mm,
yeah, after she has a baby.
nah,
So
not
you
at
learned on
all.
the fly like the rest of us.
Yeah, it was definitely on the fly. It was again, shout out to like social media or whatever, and like you come across like these different pages and stuff like that. Or I try to put myself in different conversations, and I just
Mhm.
learned just more about like the woman's experience. Again, this is years later after my daughter was born, as far as like the
Yeah,
different changes and again, like how to support, because there will be days where it's though like, okay, this is my wife and I'm familiar with you. And there'll be other days like, yo, bro, like who are, yo, go get the other one, you know,
that's a real thing. It's
you know,
funny. It is
yeah.
funny, but it's a real thing. It's a
And
real thing.
And like I said, at the time, like I just didn't understand it. But to me, I think that is all valuable information that I'm collecting, so again, I can, provide this to my son. I can provide this, information to my daughter and everything like that. Like,
It's
hey,
good.
look, this is what your dad went through. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I took, these hits. I gathered this information. So this way, like, hopefully it can be a little bit more easier, like for you and you have a better understanding and you don't have to be as ignorant, as much as I was.
Love that. What about you, Bully? Your camera's a little fuzzy. I'm not sure.
You see me?
I can see you, but it's a little hazy. I don't know.
Okay.
Something changed. You go
Is it
for it.
back? Okay, okay. All right.
No, that's better. It's getting better. Good.
That's that alpha
Um,
Wi-Fi.
Okay, see?
yeah, funny. I'm gonna let that slide. I'm gonna let that slide.
We're gonna let that slide for now, number. Don't even worry about it. Good. Mhm.
Nah, ain't nobody tell me about this, man.
No,
Not,
nobody
I
told
never
you.
had, yeah, no, no, no. The crazy thing about it is that me and my homeboy, we have kids the same age, and he's married as well, and we were going through it at the same time, and we had the conversation with each other. Um, Certainly, I didn't. I had learned on the fly just like everyone else in this room, and I didn't know it was going to be like this. But certainly, like being even, and I've gone through it multiple times. You know what I mean? And just having that patience and having that understanding, certainly helps. And then you know being able, like I just said, to have conversations with people who are going through similar things, who are similar aged, also was very beneficial. But it is certainly something, just like Kev English said, it is certainly something that I will talk to my children about when they get, to that spot, because it's a very important conversation. And I didn't even know it was a thing. You know what I mean? And I think like as men, you know, we aren't having the same experience as our partners are. So like just having those things top of mind is really crucial, I believe. So yeah, definitely no one ever talked to me about it, but you know, you learn by living, and this is something that I would definitely talk to my daughter and boys about for sure.
This conversation for me is so important. It's like I was having a discussion on the Clubhouse app, Rossian actually one day in Dr. G's room, and it was like maybe 10 men on the stage on the platform, and we were all sharing our experiences, right? I'm talking about like with my ex-wife having to you get home and like you don't realize it, but your wife can't walk no more. You know what I'm saying? She just had a human come out of her body, so she's not moving like she used to. She maybe can't even bathe herself properly, you know? God forbid she had a C-section. She's not doing much for like 6 to 8 weeks, depending on what's going on. You know what I mean? And then there's just so much that comes with it. Like, depending on how she's healing, how well she's healing. I didn't know that healing could take minimum a year for the body to like kind of go back to normal, but it can take up to 4 years. Nobody talked about postpartum depression. And I think that is like one of those things that we really, really lose out on because we don't understand what's happening, right? And when you look at the stats, sadly, bro, most infidelity, not most, but a lot of infidelity happens during this time when you initially have the baby. Because women be going through so much, we're so uneducated about what it is. Their emotions change, their hormones change, and all those things. And we over here just trying to show up as the best versions of ourselves. And that's why I tell so many men about what it was like to take care of a woman, because I'm like, you need to understand this. That's why you need to try to only have kids with a woman that you love. I tell them to have it with somebody that they're married to because that's my personal belief, right? And only because most of the men that I've known in my life, and again, this is me, who had kids who were not married, didn't have the same care politic. And that's, again, my personal experiences, right? The men that I know that either married or married shortly after typically cared for the women differently, right? And so even in the conversation I was telling y'all about that I had on social audio, like women started crying because they had, one, never heard men talk about taking care of a woman during her pregnancy or afterwards. They had never heard men talk so openly, honestly. And then the one thing they would say is like, they never heard men care so much about a woman, you know, because most of them were moms, but they weren't married, you know, so they went through all of these things by themselves. I don't even see how that's possible, to be honest with you. After having a child, I was like, how do women do this by themselves? I couldn't imagine personally, you know what I mean? And so that's why I always bring it up. I'm asking every guest on here because I want to continue to talk about it, because I think it's one of the biggest pieces for me at the time that rocked my world. And I want brothers to know what they're getting themselves into. And I want brothers to, because I was at all the prenatal classes, you know, I was learning how to put on the diaper. I was doing all the things. But one thing that they never talked about in any of the classes was the care that you need to have, helping your wife with latching, you know, getting the baby to latch. The latch don't always work. Figuring out breast pumps, understanding that her emotions are all over the place. So trying to figure all these things out is not always easy. Like, we need to be expressing, like, I think that can help brothers understand like what they might be really getting themselves into so they can better prepare also and better plan. Because unfortunately also, most kids are not planned. Even in relationships, people just be, you know, and I'm not judging anybody who does. I'm just saying, like, as a community, I feel like we need to push harder to do better in that way.
Right. But also too, bro, just to understand your role and understand the importance of just being a dad. Even if you're not married to that woman, she's carrying your
Right.
child, right?
Right.
At least be there in these ways because you're an integral part of the whole situation all the way through. And I think that a lot of men is like, oh, she pregnant, she gonna carry the baby. I'll deal with that when the baby get here.
Right.
No, every step of the way, you are a part of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When that baby's in their stomach, you should be talking to the baby. You should be at all the appointments, listening to what the doctor's saying, talking to the baby, reading books. You should be asking her how she's doing, how's her mental, because it's going to come a time. And I actually sat on a panel full of men talking about this very thing one time down at Philadelphia City Council. And I said, we are just as important in this situation because you never know when you may have to step in. And in a personal story, real quick,
Mm-hmm.
when my son was a baby, my wife, I'll never forget it. He would not stop crying all night long. That
Um,
boy won't stop it. We tried to do everything. We did everything possible. But I noticed the signs was the point of the story because my wife stood up. She had him in my arms. She was standing by the window.
mm-hmm.
And I woke up. I said, give me the baby. Lay down, go to sleep. I took him out into the living room, walked him around. He kept crying, walked him around, did all the stuff, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, he went to sleep, noticing the signs because later on we had a conversation and she said, babe, I don't know what it was, but I really thought about like throwing him out the window. And I was like, this is why this is important. It's why you have to understand what they're going through mentally. You don't even have to understand it because you may not, but just know that the safety of your child is at in jeopardy could be not because they want it to be or want your child to be, but because it's just a part of this process that's not the best. So you have to be there. You have to understand. You have to look for those signs. When it happened with my daughter, I told my wife, I said, just go out, go shopping with your girls, go to the mall, do something. I got the
Yeah.
kids because I don't
Mm,
want you to get that deep into it that it becomes detrimental or becomes dangerous for the kids. But these, like you said, Matt, these are the things that nobody talked to us about.
mm,
Luckily, I was able to notice and pick up on it because I listened and I understood. But everybody doesn't do that, and that's why I don't
mm.
I don't take lightly to being a father at all. I don't take lightly to being a dad, husband, because there are so many things involved that we don't talk about and that we just have to be there for to help. All that just the woman is the nurturer. No, everybody nurturing.
Yeah.
Everybody's teaching. Everybody's helping develop this personality, this person. But also we watching out for each other.
Yeah.
We need more of that. We really do, man. And it's kind of sad sometimes when, I see a lot of young guys sometimes they just like, man, she tripping. Da, da, da. I'm like, bro, she not tripping. Her hormones
Mm.
are in a rage right now. You don't even get it. That thing firing
Right.
off like it's not her. It's not. She's not doing it on purpose. But you got to
Right.
be willing to roll with that and understand, man. We need more education on that. So I can
Hell yeah.
appreciate that, Matt and fellas. For y'all, to talking about it and everything because it's really a real thing that we need.
That's a fact. Pulley, you was about to say something too about that?
No, 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 no. I mean, he's
Oh,
spot.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Disagreeing. That's all.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly. And yeah, because I always talk about how I tried to call different older men in my life because I had my daughter in 2014. I called different men, older men in my life, and nobody could relate because they didn't take care of me. You know what I mean? Like they were like, "So you're waking up at night? You don't have breasts. What are you doing?" Well, Dad, well, Uncle, there are these things called bottles, right? And what you do is you put the milk in the bottle, and then you feed the baby. And they're just like, but with how they grew up, and my family, old school Jamaicans, they're just, you know what I'm saying? They're like, I don't get it. Like I hear what you're saying, I just don't understand it. It wasn't a responsibility for them in that same way back in the day, and so they couldn't relate. And we also had, culturally, and my wife was telling me this too, for when she had her sons, culturally, a lot of family members came over, a lot of women came over and helped with the babies when they were younger. So like they didn't see the everyday as much, right? The job I used to have, and this is in 2014, and these baby boomer, silent generation owners of the company did not understand why I needed any time off. Paternity leave wasn't a thing still. And they gave me a week off from having my first baby. And they're like, see you on Monday. Congratulations. Because for them, it was like, you're not feeding the kids. You're not waking up at night. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. You have a wife. We'll see you on Monday. And they saw me on Monday, even though I was doing everything that, obviously I feel like our new age dads kind of really jump in and handle all of the responsibilities along with it. And so that's why I feel like we continue to have these conversations about the reality, about what it is to become a father, taking care of your woman, what it is to be in the marriage every day, showing up every day, as well. And the fact that you don't have to have it all figured out as a man and as a husband, but you're constantly trying to better yourself. That's what I got from all of y'all today. Really trying to better yourselves in different ways. And y'all also all have community. Even if it's Kappas and Sigmas, that's fine, but you still have community and other people around you. And I think that's a beautiful thing, you know, at the end of the day. And I love that you all are just pushing yourselves to be better. You've all mentioned how you're creating that legacy for your kids. So you're going to teach and talk to them and make sure that they are better off than you. And I feel like you all are the reality. You all are the everyday fathers. This is what it is. We're showing up as our best versions, and we're going to continue to do our best. Nobody's perfect, but we're here and we're intentional every day. And so for y'all, for that, I appreciate it so much. I want to thank all three of y'all for coming on tonight and being willing to talk and share some really personal things and to being honest. I love that y'all don't have every answer to everything and everything's not perfect, but you're still here and you're still genuinely yourselves. And I'm appreciative, man. This conversation was really like a breath of fresh air for me. I appreciate y'all. Is there any last words that any of y'all want to share? Please, anything, any projects you got working on, please feel free to shout out your social media, get your followers up. You know, Kev, we all gonna be running with you. Okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, anything y'all got going on for real?
I have you know though, because you saying that thing.
Yes.
One of my closest brothers that I talk to almost every morning, like 6:30 in the morning, he's an alpha. That's my
That's
guy.
a good man right there.
Yeah, that's my dog, right? And we got married around the same time, but me and him, yes, sir. And I got another one who's a Kappa. So listen, we all three of us are like this, but we actually, you know, we went through our Masonic lives together. So we real tight. Those are my guys, man. I talk to them about everything. Like, so it's funny, you know, we all have our, you know, talking points and talk our trash, but listen, I love those dudes, man. Those are my guys. And, you know, they've given me some of the best guidance I've ever had when it comes to being married, being in a relationship. So, you know, just want to point that out there. My whole circle ain't just Sigmas. You know what I'm saying? I got more around me.
Of course.
No,
I gotta give you a hard time though. It's just
for sure. That's what we do.
exactly.
But also, my Instagram, man, you can follow me on Instagram, Miles Alonzo, MILES.ALONZO. But also, actually, man, you might have seen it. I have a page called Open Decks Co. I would like people to follow that. OPENDECKS CO. I'm actually right now, I got it right next to me. I've created a conversation card game. It's called Black and Bonded.
Black and Blended, that's it? Black and
Bonded. Black and Bonded.
Okay.
And I read you a little tagline: powerful deck for Black couples ready to talk about love, trust, and what it really takes to bond.
Come on now.
I will be releasing soon. But listen, this is all about communication. It's all about, you know, bonding and getting closer with your partner. There's some dope, really good questions in there, make you think. So, you know, just to push that, I would hope that, you know, some people will follow the page and, you know, check us out when we go live. I'm working on it now. That's one of the
big, I'll share all of that
right now. Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. And of course, listen, let's get it, because I want to see more of our people together. I want to see more of our people doing their thing, married, having babies, take care of these babies together, raising them up. Let's get them numbers up so we don't got to be on Clubhouse like only 10% of the Black community is.
I don't know what he's talking about. What about you, Kev?
Might as you be fighting a good fight, my brother.
I'll be trying, bro. You know, I'll be trying.
Hey, you gotta say what's Kev, man. Like we ain't different.
You're right. That's a good point. That's a good point. Brother English. Tell these people what you do also, so they can really hit you up.
Yeah. So I'm a licensed therapist in New Jersey. You know, I work with individual adults, families. I don't have a website, but if you look me up on Psychology Today, you can find out any information, especially if you're in New Jersey. Again, full name Kevin English. But my only last remarks that I will say is that this is a you know, like a dope, you know, conversation. like to have.
Hmm.
It was really good being able to, talk about, share experiences and learning from, like different perspectives. Again, like even tonight, like this is just like another avenue as far as like, like support as far as like getting to, know Kev or Miles and everything like
Right.
that. Like, yo, Miles, that Philly accent is crazy, son. Like,
Ain't it
and
crazy? That's real though, right? Hmm.
you right on the
Born and
bridge.
raised here
Yeah,
too, bro.
you right on the bridge too. So like, yeah, but again, like things like this, I think is helpful for the community and it's good.
Yeah. Appreciate that, man. Brother Baltimore, what you got
Yeah.
for us?
Um. So what I will say is I didn't get a chance to answer the second part of one of your previous questions. So I just
Oh
wanted to
yeah.
touch on that real quick. Um. When I started dating my wife, when I started dating, she was my girlfriend at the time. I knew she was going to be my wife. You know what I mean? Uh,
Oh.
it was already I was already knowing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I think for me in my life, it's all about like breaking some of these generational curses. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Hmm.
I'm I'm a product of a single black household, single black female household. My parents were married. They got a divorce when I was very young. And what I will say is, I don't remember nothing about my dad living with us, right? Because
Oh,
they,
okay.
they got divorced when I was very young. But one thing I do remember is the day that they told me, right? And I can tell you everything specific about that conversation. I could see it.
Whew.
I could see it like it happened yesterday. And I did that for for my children.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, I think conversations like this are very important. This sort of representation is very important so people can see it. Um, and I'm honored to be here, and like I'm, really appreciative of you guys' time. And I'm KP4 KP4 on Instagram. That's KPULLEY4 on both those social media sites. And um, yeah, that's all I got really.
Appreciate that, man. And again, thanks to all of y'all, phenomenal fathers. I am going to be hosting another. So I'm doing my next episode's coming up next week. Next week we're getting into. This week we did more marriage. Next week is getting into the divorce piece. So Kev, you just kind of shook my core a little bit when you said you remember the day. Because I remember that day for my kids too, and I don't wish that on anybody. But it's a reality, right? And it's a good thing in terms of for you that made you understand like, okay, I know what I'm going to do when it's my turn, and I know how I'm going to show up in order to make sure that it's the way that it needs to go. So I always am going to figure out a positive spin to something. You know what I'm saying? And just so y'all know too, at the end of the season, I may be having kind of like a reunion follow up kind of thing with all the participants, and we're going to be having a larger discussion. So there's going to be two sides of the fence, and y'all can tell me if y'all are down to participate in this. But it's going to be kind of like the husbands on one side having the conversation, and on the other side, long-term relationship slash fathers of children, aka baby daddies. And we're going to be having a very spirited conversation about my assertion that if you really care about this woman, you would marry her because she's having your kids and all
Well, you
that.
trying
And,
to you
a
trying
lot
to
of the
turn
guys
it
I've
up?
talked to about this already, it's been a
Yeah.
lot. It's actually been all this, But I think I'm tired of having the conversation separately. You know what I'm saying? I feel like even if we don't agree, if we all come in to listen to understand, we can make some headway. We'll see. Why not? But nowadays, black men, we are showing up. We are involved. We are dads. We are out here doing it. We killing it, whether married or not. So I'm always excited about that because it's very different than when we was coming up back in the day. But I think we can take it to then. I think we can take it to that next step too and do some real commitment. We committed anyway. But anyway, I ain't gonna get that conversation started today. So I'll still put it out there for y'all. If you want to participate, I'll definitely let you know when it is and send you the invite, and we'll have a good time.
Yep. I'm always
Sounds good.
down to run my mouth, so you just gotta let me know. that one is gonna be good. I can
You know
hear
that
it
was
now. One mic.
right. And you see, I'm looking at you and Kev
Yeah,
pulling like, since y'all did get married after having the babies, I'm like,
yeah.
ooh,
Listen,
I
I've
didn't
been
know
there.
that.
I'm with you.
Right. But all right, fellas, thank y'all. Have a good night. God bless. Tell y'all wives I appreciate y'all them loaning y'all to me for just a couple hours. And
Same,
talk
same.
to y'all soon. And I'll text y'all when the episode drops.
All right. Have a
All
good one, fellas. Take care,
right.
man.
Peace.
All right.
Nice to meet y'all,
Be blessed.
fellas.